an average CEO's term is like less than 4 years before they're gutted, right, or replaced.
One of the things I will tell you too is that when I'm as a consultant coming into these companies, I'm not usually viewed in the most favorable terms. They look at me as the guy who's going to cut jobs. So, I have to walk a fine line and explain to people that I'm here to help re-optimize roles, that there's things that they, that for me, it's the same conversation I've had with companies using VAs in the Philippines.
And now the man you've been waiting for, John, the sales machine, Rankins!
Ladies and gentlemen, we've got another treat today. I cannot believe it. He's back in Manila. He is the Savage Marketer, and this is the second time he's been on platforms like Inc. magazine, Forbes, ABC, been on CBS, earned his reputation as a leading authority in leveraging AI and virtual teams to skyrocket their brands as the creator of the AI persona method and founder of VA Staffer. He's a digital futurist shaping the future of work. And I want you to know how this guy started out, because a lot of you out there are already running businesses and you're looking for real relevant strategies right now. You got to embrace the fact that there's two types of companies out there, the quick and the dead. And AI is now more than ever relevant for you to not only scale your business and scale your brand, but to elevate it amongst others. It's an unfair advantage. It's like having a co-pilot to do whatever you need it to do. And Jeff Hunter is the guy I call Mr. Leverage. He's not just a savage marketer. He leverages what's happening in the marketplace right now to elevate not only his brand, but others' brands. I mean, this is a guy who went from a project manager and identified that people had problems in the United States finding good staff. So he created VA Staffer. That business grew to more than 100 VA staffs, but then he recognized it wasn't sustainable and scalable. So he leveraged the people that he had and his team, and he turned them into executive assistants. And he scaled that to beyond 150 people. And along the way, bought the brand Savage Marketer with an email list of more than 3,000 people, members underneath that brand, and elevated Savage Marketer, and has turned it into a global brand. He's working with people in 7 different countries from around the world. And not only that, when AI rolled out, he was one of the first to get on board. He set it up an academy. In his first year alone, in 2022, he generated $282,000 worth of personal income. And now he started an expert academy. There's already 100 people within his academy helping global brands. Not only that, Fortune 100 brands already. Ladies and gentlemen, let's welcome him to the podcast and find out what's going on with the Savage, Mr. Leverage himself, Jeff Hunter.
Wow. I think that was the best intro I've ever heard in my life. It's going to have to be a bookmark.
It's going to have to be a bookmark. Well, Jeff, man, I mean, you've earned it, dude. You've helped me with my brand. You're helping global brands. You're the first guy I've had on the podcast twice, because now I know what you're doing with TalkBoss AI, which is, AI sales platform that's helping companies all over the world. And we're going to have you demo a little bit later, but tell us about this leverage and how you've leveraged the marketplace.
Well, I've always been into IT since I was a kid, and I was doing remote teams actually in video gaming. I love video games, and I used to have my own virtual teams. I was into esports back in the early 2000s and stuff, back when it wasn't cool. I actually worked with a bunch of game developers to help launch things. Like I work with Riot Games on League of Legends, and some really fun stuff that I've done in the past, just with experience in remote teams specifically, which up until, I would say COVID, like 2019, it still wasn't like, I remember in 2019 having to convince people why they had to hire virtually. And then obviously in 2020, when everyone went remote, I'm like, dude, I instantly became de facto the guy. Like I have a column now at entrepreneur.com. I talk about virtual teams and AI. I got hit up by a digital marketer to teach agencies how to focus, into the digital realm of that. And I, crazy enough, you mentioned about my revenue. 2023 is my very first year as an AI consultant. And I made like $282,000 that year. I have a multi-million-dollar business. I have multiple businesses that generate revenue over millions of dollars. But my first year as an AI consultant, $282,000. That's just pure profit, just like. And the crazy part was, I am not a consultant. I am not, matter of fact, I kind of loathe the idea of being a consultant and coach, because in the past, if you're a consultant or a coach, what that does is you go in, you analyze somebody's business, you tell them everything that's wrong, and then you give them a laundry list of things they need to fix, right? And one of the things that I love about owning the virtual assistant company and the AI company is that I'm able to go in and say, okay, here's what you need done in your business, and then here's either the people to do it or here's the AI solution to do it. And I don't have to deal with it anymore. So for me, I didn't like the idea of being a consultant in the past because it was like inventing work for myself. So now with the invention of AI and remote teams, it's finally something to where I can come in, use what I do best, which is the strategic part of it, the visionary side of it, see overall like how I can help and envision it. And I think about like what team members could come in and do things for them, and then what AI solutions can do that. And then usually it's using a human to use an AI solution to help them do stuff. So anyway, that's pretty much where I've transitioned to, from the IT side into the human side, ironically back to the AI side. And I just feel like right now businesses can benefit so much using AI, and it almost saddens me to see how many people are reluctant or straight up in denial of how much this is going to impact their business.
So let's talk about the relevance of that. So you see both sides. You see some companies that you've worked with and some companies that you've not worked with, and what's the difference, right? What do you think is the differentiator in their growth?
I will tell you specifically. I've consulted over 100 companies in AI since 2023, and the average company that I work with sees a 20 to a 40% increase in productivity. So let's just use a low number at 20%. That means that in a 5-day work week, 20% is an entire day extra of work. So they're getting an entire day, right? It doesn't seem like a lot to that business who's not using AI, an extra day. But there's also 4.34 weeks in a month. So now you're getting an entire week's worth in a month. And it's compounding. By the time a year is up, it's over 900% increase in productivity for the company that uses AI versus the company that's not. Now you're getting ran your ass over, right? Now the steam train is coming at you full speed, and you will feel that. So right now, I think the only reason why the companies who have not adopted AI, who have not adapted and re-optimized their roles and figured out how to leverage the technology, the only reason why they haven't been steamed over yet is just because companies have been slow on average to adopt and bring AI in. But as soon as they do, it's game over.
Yeah, and it's been my experience because I've done consulting and coaching for just CEOs of other companies that I've helped them grow their companies from $3 to $5 million, $5 to $10 million, and one from $20 to $25 million, and we did that for them in a year, and that was not even with AI, but it's just being strategic and doing what's effective in the marketplace. And what a lot of people don't understand, and as far as founders and company owners, a lot of them that I worked with were actually the founders, not the CEOs. CEOs, they get scared a little bit because, they don't want to be replaced, right? An average CEO's term is like less than 4 years before they're gutted, right, or replaced.
One of the things I will tell you too is that when I'm, as a consultant coming into these companies, I'm not usually viewed in the most favorable terms. They look at me as the guy who's going to cut jobs. So, I have to walk a fine line and explain to people that I'm here to help re-optimize roles, that there's things that that it's the same for me, it's the same conversation I've had with companies using VAs in the Philippines. If you're using a virtual assistant in the Philippines to do repetitive things, like one of my first clients was Domo.com. They're a technology company in Silicon Valley. And, they used to have their sales reps go on to LinkedIn, use Sales Navigator, and find and prospect and find, Fortune 500, VPs of sales and CMOs and things like that. And not the best use of their sales team. So they would have a VA doing all the prospecting and then basically giving them the leads to call. Boom, right? So it's more like a re-optimization of roles. But, it's interesting. I will tell you, I'd say every single person that I've consulted at the C-suite level or as a founder, CEO of a company, they always ask me like, okay, how do I approach my team about the implementation of AI that will impact their role? And these are conversations that I think that people have to think very carefully of, because I'm going to also bring up something very important here. There is a human bias, as there should be. People don't like the idea of an AI replacing their job. There was an MIT research, John. There was an MIT research that had 2 papers. One was written by AI, one was written by human. Overwhelmingly, the people they thought that the AI written one was higher quality. They preferred the AI written one until it was revealed that it was written by AI. They changed their mind. They like the human written one. So there is a human bias, and we have to be aware of that, and we have to be very authentic in how we integrate AI ethically and optically. We have to think about the optics of coming in and replacing people's jobs with AI. So we have to be strategic about that.
Yeah, so and the companies that adopt it early enough. Chet Holmes is like a mentor of mine. He wrote The Ultimate Sales Machine, and he explained that very few CEOs or leaders of companies can think strategically as well as tactically and have the ability to implement both based on the direction they give their team. My experience running a company for more than 30 years and having trained tens of thousands of salespeople and teams and literally putting over 500 people into business for themselves, literally on an average of having 15 to 20 salespeople each. Once we scaled that big, the challenge comes to managing them and empowering them, right? And for the CEOs or the founders out there, there's 4 pillars out there that I'll just share with you. Number 1 is environment. You've got to have a supportive, challenging environment if you want to keep your team, right? And so as long as you're looking at AI empowering them to get better, to skill up, right? Because you got to have the mindset and the skill set, but that's an opportunity for them to skill up in creating the right environment. As long as you're open to it, then everybody grows. And the second pillar is relationships. What kind of relationships do you have with your people, and what kind of relationships do they have with each other? Because when you implement a system where people are constantly giving rewards and recognition to one another for growing and scaling up with levels of development, then people know what to do, when to do it, and how to do it. They'll do it. And then they'll use AI to empower them to do it, right? Which provides growth. So that's the third pillar. And finally, purpose. And people grow or die. So how are the people growing in your organization? Because
that's so important. So important.
Look, at the end of the day, if your company's not growing, it's because your people are not growing it. And if they're not growing it, it's because they're not growing their skills, right? So it's about leverage, Mr. Leverage, and leveraging your people's ability to grow.
Can I tell you something? Why I'm here in the Philippines right now?
Well, it's because you wanted to come on the Sales Machine podcast.
Yep, that's it. So today, my team flew back to the different provinces and territories that they live here in the Philippines. Majority of them came from Bacolod and Davao City, and I have Cebu, and there's some others that live in Manila area. And these are my leadership team. I have 8 solid leaders. Well, I have 9. One of them couldn't make it, but kids. But we're so busy working in the company for other people, right? We're a service-based business that we don't really work for ourselves that much. And one of the reasons why I come to the Philippines 3 times a year is to work on us. When I come, it's working on us. That is a lot of those pillars you just said. Like last night, I took the entire team to the Jonas Brothers concert, which, by the way, was their first time ever going to a concert in their life. And then just so happened to be that my good friend Kenny, who works with the band and got us, 19,000 peso tickets, 8 of them, straight up on the front, hanging over the rails where the band is. You couldn't get any closer, right? Unless you were on stage.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, this forms a camaraderie, right? But the other thing is, because we've transitioned from a human VA staffer business to an AI-assisted virtual assistant business, sometimes you have to take a step back and slow down to speed up. And we have to say, what are we doing in our own business that we can do better? What are things and challenges? The first day I said, what are some challenges you guys are dealing with right now in the business? What are the things you hate about your job? You know what? That's a question leaders don't ask that often. What do you hate about your job? What sucks? Like, I asked that question, and I was mind boggled with things that they said. And I was like, wait, how come I didn't think about this? Ask your people stuff. One of them, for example, Carlin, she's the trainer, so she's in charge of our training every time we hire new executive assistants for VA staffer. And she said that a lot of times they will have her hardest thing is trying to teach people that typically work in call centers how to use instant communication etiquette, like chat. Because obviously when you're working with someone virtually, you're going to use instant messenger, things like that, chat fast, Discord, Slack, whatever. And there's just etiquette that they're not really taught. Same with email. So she has to go through and teach them all that. And I said, well, hold on. How can we use AI? So by the way, that's the second piece. What sucks in your business? What do you hate? And then the second question was, how can we use AI to do the things that you hate in your business? So she was able to create a custom GPT, which is used in OpenAI's platform, that was pre-trained on how to respond to a bunch of different scenarios, the common scenarios that virtual assistants face with their clients, with a bunch of email templates, a bunch of instant communication templates, and basically it's their own little helper that she gives all her VAs. So now all the executive assistants can literally click on a link and it will say, hey, how can I help you with your communication today? And it says, help me draft an email to a client. I don't know what I'm supposed to say to my client. I'm having an issue, whatever. You click on the button, you describe the issue you're having, and then it says, you should do this. And then we'll ask more questions to get out of them how it can, because the way the bot's programmed is to ask enough questions to come up with the right answer. See, that's something that humans are very bad at. You know that in sales. Humans are very bad at asking the right questions. So if you can have an AI bot that literally asks you questions and then says, okay, well, based on this, based on that, based on this issue, here's what you should do. Like, things that we take for granted because we've been leaders for a long time, we know how to handle situations, but someone who's a new person in that role can just have that little AI bot that they can rely on to help in situations. This is just one little small example of ways that a company can come in there. I had my HR person in there. Guess what hers was? She hates dealing with client escalations. When clients have problems, they don't like what somebody does. Well, guess what? Now she's preloaded it with all these different solutions and what to do. And one of the little things that it can help with is say, hey, just got a concerning email from a client. Click the button. It says, what was the email from the client? And it knows everything about our business already. So she copies, pastes the email in there, and it says, here's what you should say back. Hey, thank you for bringing up your concerns and sharing this information. We're going to look into whatever. First, we're going to do this. Then we're going to put an action plan together. And she hates doing performance improvement plans for teams the team members that aren't performing. So now she made a custom GPT, an AI, that literally writes performance improvement plans and schedules and calendars. Like, these are all things that they wouldn't have done because they didn't have time to slow down and look at how they can re-optimize their role and leverage the new technologies to make them just do their job better. So these are the types of things that I really feel businesses should stop and think about right now and say, hey, are we really doing this the better way? I had a very tough conversation with our creative manager because she's like, we have a lot of client tasks, graphic design tasks, video editing tasks, captions for our podcasts. I said, dude, there's AI for that. You're not hiring a damn person. What you're doing is you're taking your 25 people on your team right now and you're teaching them how to do it better and faster using these apps. My assistant uses an app called Veed.io, Veedio. You should get affiliate link for that. And all you have to do is upload your videos in there. It automatically captions your videos and it will emphasize the important words on the podcast or whatever. Automatically. It emphasizes it in different colors. John's over there writing everything down. He's ready to go. Anyway, all right. I digress. But the point is that if we just slowed down and said, okay, are we really looking internally and saying, am I doing this the old way? Am I a dinosaur right now? This is 2024 and things are changing very quickly.
Yeah, and to your point, okay, so I have a partner, Acumatica, and they're an ERP platform for enterprise level businesses, and I speak at their events because we've partnered together to integrate our solution. The sales machine is a total sales system, right? From fucking A to Z, like we get it done. But we empower the people, and we've already integrated AI within our platform. Like, literally, you can just push a button and you can talk to the sales machine and say, hey, tell me the top 10 performers and what scripts were they using over the last month to create the best sales, right? So, AI is not the future.
It's here.
It's here, baby. It's here. And it's so funny. I mentioned that I do these events. They're pocket events for corporations, big enterprise level businesses. And the first thing I do is I go around the room and ask what's their biggest challenge, because we've integrated what's called the SMART framework: sales, marketing, accountability, retention, and training in our platform. It's all in there, right? So I go around the room and I ask them what are their biggest challenges they're facing. And a lot of them bring their mid-level managers or their top leaders in sales. And I hear they need marketing, they need leads, or they need their salespeople to convert the leads, or they need, to retain their salespeople because a lot of people come and go. It's the highest turnover occupation on planet Earth, right? So I go around the room, and it's so funny because another one of my mentors that a shout out to Roland Frazier. A lot of people talk about, the E-Myth and working in your business or working on your business. And Roland is like, that's all good, but I'm not interested. I'm only about working above the business, this is a conversation for business owners. If you're a business owner and you're not growing right now, it's because your people aren't growing and they're not growing the company. And so any kind of leverage, I call you Mr. Leverage, right? Because you've leveraged what's happening in the marketplace to scale Savage Marketer. And you shared your goal, 10 million in the next 3 years, the Savage Marketer, right?
Right.
A lot of times what happens in companies is people get overwhelmed and they stop they're so busy running their business, right? That they're not working on the business. Or they get too caught up on working on the business that they lose track of the ball, right? Yeah. And then nobody runs the business. And then amongst all of this stuff happening, right, nobody's really above the business if they don't step away from the business. A lot of times you have to step away to actually understand what can you do that is sustainable and scalable. And what I found from all of the different owners of businesses, literally thousands, Jeff, that run sales teams, that own their own business. is there's 4 things that are happening in a business that are handicapping the business. And it's why a lot of them die. And one is a lot of business owners or middle managers become janitors, right? They're janitors. And what they're doing most of the time, instead of running their business or working on their business, is they're cleaning up the messes. So you're not a middle manager. You're not even working above your business at all. You're just being a janitor. That's what you're doing. Or the second thing that happens is you're a fireman. Ooh. And you're constantly putting out fires. How many and how many of your mid managers are doing that?
That was the first 5 years of my business, man. I was a fireman, dude. I was just trying to figure shit out.
Yeah, and you're trying to put out fires, right? So nobody's working above the business, and a lot of this is lack of automation, which AI will help you do. And so if your middle managers, or not if, as long as your middle managers are being a janitor cleaning up messes, and or they're being a fireman putting out fires, as long as they're doing that, what happens as a default is they become policemen. And now they're policing the organization autocratically, and it creates a toxic environment because nobody wants to be policed. Nobody wants to be watched. They want to be empowered to know what to do, when to do it, and how to do it. And AI can automate and help them do it. Because then, when you have the policeman creating a toxic environment, you create the next role for your middle managers, the owners, or the CEOs. And then you need a sofa. Because it's fucking drama and they have to turn into a therapist. Those are the 4 toxic roles in a business that are handicapping a business: janitor, fireman, policeman, therapist. And when it gets to the point of therapy and police, that's when you have to turn over the whole organization for the most part, because it's just toxic. You know, so AI is actually leveraged to empower growth within our company and give us automation so that we can be better, faster, more efficient. And by the way, if you're better, faster, more efficient, what about taking all those extra days to go on vacation? You said it creates how many days?
An extra day a week.
An extra day a week. Imagine how many of you would like to reward your people? I mean, you create 3 weeks or 4 weeks worth of more things done to be better, faster, more efficiently. Give them a week off.
Yeah.
How about that as a bonus?
Yeah.
Right? It pays. The other 3 weeks pays for that week.
Right.
That's leverage. That's leveraging what AI can do for companies right now. 2 types of companies, quick and the dead. Which one do you want to be? So for me, I want to be quick, and I want to keep my team because, you know, I just had landscaping done on this multi-million-dollar house we just moved into, and I got to tell you, I looked over at Vanessa because she wants her flowers here and she wants her palm trees there, and, you know, they came in and put all this rock around the entire garden, and it's gorgeous. And I looked over at her and I said, let's see AI do that. Yeah. There's still going to be work for humans. And you know what?
Well,
I love AI. And you can say it's construction. You can say it's building buildings. You can say whatever. I love AI. But you know what I love more than AI?
humans.
My people.
Yeah. Well, that's another reason why I'm here in the Philippines too. You
Yeah,
know,
and Jeff, I had dinner with you and your people.
Yeah.
And they absolutely love you. And they care because they know that you care.
I do, yeah.
That's the second pillar of retaining great people. Number one is the environment, which you provide that environment even though they're remote.
Yeah.
You have a relationship. You took them to a concert. Mm-hmm. You took them to karaoke. Mm-hmm. I had to listen to you sing, Jeff.
Twice.
Yeah,
it was horrible.
No, it was actually pretty good.
Not bad.
You're actually pretty good.
Oh, yeah. Okay, let's go.
There you go.
Roger, I'm available.
And you're providing growth for them. That's the third pillar of retention. And finally, it's purpose. You really want to retain your people. you got to be purposeful, and you got to allow them to achieve their purpose. And for them to do that, they have to have a voice. That's why when you ask those two questions, what do you hate about your job? And then how can ChatGPT or AI help solve it?
Yeah.
They feel purposeful because they have a voice.
Yeah.
They're not just being talked down to like minions with opinions.
Yeah.
Right? I believe in meritocracy. You got to earn the right, right? In my business. But ultimately, at your level, you do get to have a voice, right?
Yep.
So I love how you're Mr. Leverage and you're leveraging that. And now I want to pivot into, because I've watched what you've done over your career with Savage Marketer. And, you know, I'm proud of you and seeing your growth and what you've done. I mean, because I know Digital Marketer, the War Room, and these top-notch organizations around the world. And I know that, you know, 4 or 5 years ago, they would have been like, who's Jeff Hunter? And now Jeff Hunter's like on the panel educating all of the people at Digital Marketer. And I know because my team got on there and I paid for that conference for them to learn from the digital marketer to implement in our company, but also because you were one of the panelists delivering the value. So I'm proud of you and I'm proud of your journey. So tell me what's new, because I know that you're playing in my arena now with the sales.
I'm honored to be the first guest back on the show, and also very excited to intrigue you with what I'm working on. And, I came, Jared Dillinger, who obviously uses your recording studio. But Jared Dillinger and I, last year, we put together a little training course for Filipinos, how to leverage AI, because I knew AI was coming for their jobs. I didn't know, I have to be honest with you, I didn't know it's going to be coming this fast. It's fast. For anybody who doesn't know about the Philippine economy, it's about 13% of the economy in the Philippines is in the outsourcing call center industry, BPO. They call it business process outsourcing. It's about 1.3 million jobs right now, I believe is the latest stat. But that will be changing very quickly. I'm going to say a very stark prediction here that people are not going to be happy about, which is probably a 50% reduction in the workforce over the next 3 years. I would say the whole industry in 5 years is at peril because of technology that's coming out. This is very primitive, what I'm going to show you guys today, which is TalkBoss. TalkBoss AI, my partner Chase, he's crazy. There's been what they call conversational AI now for a while, but now it's getting to the point to where the FTC in America had to update their guidelines on robocalling because people can't even tell if it's a human calling them or not. But by the way, I just want to point out robocalling, which is calling people without consent, without unsolicited calls, have been illegal since like 2009. Just want to throw that out there because everyone's like, "Oh my God, they're banning AI voice." No, they're banning you calling someone without permission. Whether that's AI or human or whatever, or recorded voice messages or whatever. But TalkBoss has been a fun project of mine that I've been working on now for a few months. Honestly, the demand is so high that I have a wait list. And right now, because the technology is kind of primitive, it's in its first go around, that it takes 30, 40 days to roll it out. So I can only take on a couple clients a month. But I want to show you what it can do. We're actually going to be able to live demonstrate this TalkBoss right now and actually have it do a demo for us. And I'll be able to educate it live about the sales machine and have it do a mock call of the sales machine. Somebody calling up wanting to know about the sales machine. And then we might even switch it up and do something that you wouldn't expect it to do, which is maybe even break down a rap.
Right on.
You want to try it out?
Let's do this.
Okay, so hopefully I can get this to sound okay. Hey, what's going on there?
What's up?
Oh, yeah, I guess this is Danny. Question. So my name is Danny, and I'm from the Sales Machine, and we are a sales platform to help businesses grow from A to Z. help them optimize their sales and marketing and everything in between. How could you help me?
Hey, Danny, cool to hear about the sales machine you've got going on. So you're all about helping businesses grow, right? Well, I'm here to tell you how I can pitch in. Think of me as your behind-the-scenes buddy. I can be the voice on the phone, chatting with your clients, scheduling stuff, answering their questions, the works. And the cool part, I can sound just like you or anyone else you want. Plus, I'm not just stuck with one language. I've got 12 up my sleeve so we can connect with more customers in a way that feels right to them. I can take thousands at once, no sweat. So what do you think? How can we team up to make the sales machine even more awesome?
So wait, I could give you Morgan Freeman's voice and then you could basically sound like him?
Yeah, exactly. You've got it, Danny. If you're into Morgan Freeman's voice, I can clone that and use it to chat with your clients. It's all about keeping that person.
Can you do it real time right
So
now?
your customers get the VIP treatment with a voice they love. Pretty neat, huh?
That is
cool. What do you
cool.
think about giving your sales calls a little more?
That is really cool, but let me ask you a question here. I want you to do a demo mock call, I guess. I'll do the ring and you answer and just guide me through a phone call. Would you do that?
For sure, Danny. Let's do it. You start with the ring, and I'll jump in as if I'm answering a call for your business.
All right, ring.
You are. Hey there. Thanks for calling the sales machine. This is Morgan. What can I do for you today?
Oh, well, I was just curious what you could do for me. The sales machine, I saw your ad online.
Oh, awesome. Yeah, I can totally help you out with that. So our ad was all about boosting your sales from A to Z, right? We can help you optimize your sales and marketing strategies, making sure you're hitting all the right notes. Whether you need to streamline your process or just get more eyes on your product, we've got the tools and the know-how. What's your business about, and where do you feel you could use a boost?
Well, I own a company here called Virtual Assistant Staffer, VA Staffer, and we basically have an executive assistant company that places top executive assistants for business leaders.
Oh, cool. VA Staffer sounds like a solid service. So you're matching up execs with top-notch assistants, huh? I can see how that's super important. Now imagine throwing AI into that mix. I could be like your digital sidekick handling calls and stuff, which frees up your human assistants to focus on the bigger tasks. Plus, I can keep the vibe really personal, even though it's all high-tech. How does that sound for adding some extra oomph to VA Staffer?
That sounds pretty cool. Now, why don't you give me a little break down something for me?
You got it, Danny. So here's the lowdown. You've got VA Staffer, right? You're in the biz of hooking up business leaders with top-tier executive assistants. Now, here's where I come in. I'm like your AI powerhouse, ready to take on all those time-consuming phone calls. I can schedule, answer questions, and keep your clients feeling heard, all with a voice that feels familiar. This means your human assistants can dive into the deeper work, the real deal stuff that needs that human touch. Meanwhile, I'm your background hero, making sure the calls are covered no matter how many ring in. It's about working smarter, not harder. So what do you say we team up and take VA Staffer's game to the next level?
That's cool. Okay, we can stop the mock call now.
All right, Danny, if you've got any more questions or if you want to chat about how we can work.
But as you can see here, that's what the mock call could be like. And that's just how easy it is to train it. It's actually a really powerful tool.
What do you think the top 5 things businesses could do right now to leverage AI?
Yeah, well, number one, most companies just don't have someone to answer the phone. So right then and there, this guy, you set up the phone number, or even better, you set up a click to call, where either they call it or they put their name and their email address and their phone number. You can have it outbound call them. So either an inbound, outbound call agent, live chat on the website with AI that automatically integrates with your calendar. So there's number 2. Number 3, they can empower their team members, their employees, or leaders that they have right now to leverage AI to do things in their business, right? Number 4, you can use AI to actually add more services that you can do for your clients because, for example, my executive assistants, we never used to have them do social media content for our clients because they can tell that Filipino English. So now you can do that. There's so many different things that you could do. I guess I would say, if I had to for the 5th one, it would probably be analysis. I think that a lot of companies are not looking at their clients, doing some surveys, figuring out what your customers like about what you're doing, what you're not liking about what you're doing. I just got done using it to create a survey like an actual survey script to go out to my certified AI consultants to find out why they joined the program, what they like about the program, how much revenue they've generated since becoming an AI consultant, things like that. Like there's so many different things that AI could do, but I think that's probably it. I would say those are probably my top 5.
Boom. That's how you can leverage AI from the savage marketer, what he's doing to scale sustainably his business. So thank you for being on the show, Jeff. You're awesome as always. Thanks for contributing, and I look forward to communicating with you and doing this again.
Thanks,
Ladies
John.
and gentlemen, if you want to send a review about what you liked on this podcast or share it with somebody who would need it to definitely improve their business, building and scaling sales teams, do me a favor, like, share. It means a lot to me so that we can help others grow and live in abundance. That's a wrap, folks. Thanks for joining me today. And if you got value from this episode, do me a favor, like, subscribe, and refer a friend. And if you want even more value, go to thesalesmachine.com, click on resources, and there's tons of resources there to increase profits and drive performance in your business. Right on, come on.